It was at this moment that he knew. He
What's up, guys? If you want to learn 3 different colloquialisms that start with the letter L,
He was looking kind of dumb with her finger and her thumb in the shape of an L.
stay tuned because that is exactly what I'll be teaching you guys today. All right, so we are on this series, the ABCs of colloquialisms, and we are already on the letter L. And so I have 3 different colloquialisms, 2 idioms, 1 expression that I'm going to teach you today. So let's go ahead and get into it. The first one is an idiom, and it is let the cat out of the bag. Let the cat out of the bag. Now, it's kind of a long idiom. I'm not gonna lie, some idioms are shorter, some are longer. This is more lengthy, and it's popular, but I don't really personally say it so much. Let the cat out of the bag. It's 50-50 for me. Sometimes I say it, sometimes I don't. All right, but the definition of let the cat out of the bag is to accidentally reveal a secret or information that was meant to be kept hidden. So basically, you spill the beans. That's another expression that we use, or idiom that we use, spill the beans. You tell a secret that you weren't supposed to say, all right? It's a secret for a reason. You were supposed to keep your mouth shut. You weren't supposed to tell anyone, but you do, and you accidentally tell the secret. So you accidentally reveal a secret or some type of information that was supposed to be kept hidden. You let the cat out of the bag. So an example of this.
It was at this moment that he knew. He
Before I actually give the example sentence, an example of this is in 2021 when I was moving to South Korea. When I was moving back to South Korea for literally like the 20th time. That's another story for another day. But when I was moving, I didn't tell anyone for a long time because there were so many things that needed to get done and I didn't want to jinx myself. I didn't want to, tell everyone, hey, I'm moving to South Korea, and then not be able to get a job or a visa or this or that and not be able to go. So I didn't tell anyone, even my family, for about 6 months. Even though I had already secured my job, even though I had already secured a house in South Korea, I had already applied for our visas and we were in the process of getting our visas, I didn't tell anyone until maybe 3 months before we were leaving because I didn't want people to know and then it not go through. Like if something bad happened, I didn't want to jinx myself. So eventually I let the cat out of the bag. I told my friends and family like, hey, I'm moving to Korea again, because I had already moved there a lot in my early 20s and now it was my late 20s in that time. And I was like, just kidding, I'm moving back with my family this time, with my husband and my 2 kids. And now I'm back in America. So a lot of back and forth. But anyways, eventually I let the cat out of the bag and I told everyone, hey, by the way, I'm moving in 3 months. Bye. But yes, so I let the cat out of the bag. And the example sentence I prepared for you all is, I can't believe you let the cat out of the bag about the surprise party. I can't believe you let the cat out of the bag about the surprise party. All right. Let the cat out of the bag, again, is an idiom that just means to reveal a secret. In a nutshell, which if you don't know what that means, you can watch it here. In a nutshell, let the cat out of the bag just means to reveal a secret. So the next one we're going to learn today, so that was number 1. Number 2 is lend an ear. It is an expression, lend an ear, all right? And this just means to listen attentively or sympathetically to someone, all right? If you're lending an ear, you're like actively listening. Either you're being very attentive or you're giving like a sympathetic ear. So maybe somebody just is really going through it. Like they have a lot on their plate. Again, if you don't know what that means. If they have a lot on their plates, or maybe they're just going through a lot of hardships and you're just listening to everything that's going on in their life, they're venting to you, you are lending an ear. It just means they need somebody that they need to talk to because there's so much going on, it's being built up, they need to vent, they need to let it all out, and they just need someone to listen, and that someone is you. You are lending an ear, a sympathetic ear, or sometimes you're just being very attentive. You're lending an ear meaning maybe somebody has a business idea and they want to run it by you. So you're attentively listening because you want to lend an ear. You want to help them out. Like, hey, tell me what you got. Let me see, you know, and you're lending that ear, all right? So to listen attentively or sympathetically to someone. So unfortunately, we've all had those times in our lives, right? Where we're going through a lot and we need somebody to listen. I literally ask, I have a best friend who is basically my therapist. You know who you are if you're watching this. You better be watching my YouTube videos, sir, all right? Because English isn't your first language either, all right? Sorry. But he is literally my therapist, and I call him all the time. I'm like, hey, I need you to lend an ear because I need to vent. And all the things, no matter what it is going on in my life, I could just tell him, and he's like, all right, this is what I think. And he lets me talk for hours. And then if I ask for advice, he gives it. If I don't, he's like, all right, I hope you feel better. Thanks for telling me. You know, I'm glad I could help. And then that's it. Like, he's just always there to listen. So he lends an ear. So an example sentence of this is, she's always there to lend an ear whenever I need to talk. She's always there to lend an ear whenever I need to talk. Lend an ear, again, is just an expression that means to listen either attentively or sympathetically to someone. So we have let the cat out of the bag, lend an ear, and the last one is lock horns. Lock horns. And I'm going,
This is serious.
I look like I'm throwing up gang signs, but I was trying to give you a visual of locking horns. You know when you have like two animals with horns and they fight and they kind of lock their horns together? That's exactly where this idiom came from. It's an idiom and it means to argue or fight with someone. If you lock horns with someone, you argue or fight. Now, I will say this idiom is pretty common in the South. I don't actually know if it's as common in the North because I don't live up north, but I'm pretty sure, actually, now that I think about it, I don't even know. It's a common idiom when I was growing up, because I did grow up in the South and we have a lot of people who love to hunt or bull riding and things with animals with horns. And so it's a common idiom for people to use if they fight. They're like, oh, you locked horns with that guy at school the other day, which means you fought. You argue with somebody the other day. Even when I was growing up, I remember my parents used to tell me, stop what you're doing. You always lock horns with your sister. Why do you have to do that? You know, and there's the little Southern accent that comes out because my parents speak in a Southern accent. But why do you have to lock horns every day? You know, I get it. Now that I'm a mom and I have 2 kids, they lock horns often too. They fight, they argue. They're brothers. It's what they do. All right, they lock horns. Again, it's an idiom that just means to fight or argue with someone. All right. So an example sentence of lock horns is, the 2 leaders locked horns over the terms of the agreement. All right. The 2 leaders locked horns over the terms of the agreement. Locked horn. 3 colloquialisms, 2 idioms, 1 expression, all starting with the letter L. Okay, let the cat out of the bag, lend an ear, and lock horns. All right, so I hope you guys have a better understanding of these 3 colloquialisms that you learned here today. If you do, please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I hope to see you all in the next video.